things. Now, I want to do one more problem, and this one involves a bit of fractions, and so I just want to do this one. We have 5a over 6 minus 5 over 2 is equal to minus 1/2 minus a over 6. And the reason I wanted to do this one is this involves, there's a couple ways you could do this. Now, many people who are probably really gifted in algebra and see it immediately would just say, wow, it might be tempting to multiply by the number 6 everything through here, get rid of these fractions. That's a way to do that. So let me show you that way, and then I'm going to show you another way to do it as well. Now you see that 2 times 3 gets 6. So if we multiply through by 6, we're going to get rid of this term here as well as get rid of the fraction. So if we multiply by 6, both sides, again, we want to tell a lie, so whatever you do to one side, you can do to the other. So 6 times 5 over 6a, the 6's will cancel, we'll be left with 5a. Now 6 and 2 goes into 6 3 times. So we're going to have 3 left over. 6 divided by 2 is 3. And don't leave the 5 there. And that's going to equal, and then the same thing over here. 2 into 6 goes 3 times minus 1 times 3 minus, don't lose the minus sign. 6 into 6 is 1 time, so we just have a left over. And this is going to give us 5a minus 15 equals minus 3 minus a. Now we're going to add a to both sides in order to get a all isolated on one side, plus a, and that's going to give us 6a. And then if we will add 15 to both sides, we'll find that 6a equals, so the minus 15 plus 15 goes away, so we get 6a is isolated then, and then 15 minus 3 is 12. And this means a is equal to 2. A is equal to 2. And so that's one way of solving this. And in fact, that would be probably my preferred way of solving it. But let me show you another way to solve this. Working with fractions, it's always important to practice some of these things. We have fractions like this. You may remember from your earliest days of working with fractions, 4th, 5th, 6th grade, the emphasis was on getting a common denominator. And we'll find this throughout the whole semester is finding common denominators, only they'll be way more sophisticated than a simple numeric response. Sometimes finding the common denominator is a fairly complicated set of terms in the denominator. But in this case, the least common denominator for us is going to be 6. So we need to multiply this one times 3 over 3. Again, I mentioned to you not telling mathematical lies. And if I multiply by 3 over 3, that's essentially multiplying by 1, the number 1. And I can multiply anything times the number 1 and not change the results. The same thing's true about this 1/2 here. I can multiply it by 3 over 3. That way I'm still multiplying by 1. So let's see what happens. We'll get 5a over 6 minus, now remember we're multiplying two fractions together, multiply the denominator, multiply the numerator. So 5 times 3 is 15 over 6, 3 times 2. And this is equal to minus 3 over 6 minus a over 6. So now we have a common denominator of 6. So we can start combining like terms. So we could add a over 6 to this side and a over 6 to this side. And we could add 15 over 6 to this side and 15 over 6 to this side in order to get rid of that term and in order to get rid of this term. What we're going to be left with in the end is 6a over 6 is equal to, and then 15 minus 3 is 12. 12 over 6. 6 into 6 cancels, leaving a, and 6 divided by into 12 goes twice. So that gives us 2. In which case we have a is equal to 2. You got the same answer, but a little different approach. This one with the common denominator, then combining all those like terms, a's, and just the constants. But there's two ways to solve the same problem, and I just want to emphasize this is the way you would find a common denominator. Either one of those methods work. All right, well that's Chapter 1, Section 5, brief overview of that material.